I never imagined a simple sentence could plant such doubt in my mind. "I need some time with Lily," my wife, Amanda, said casually one morning. At first, I nodded, trusting her intentions. After all, spending quality time with our daughter was something I always encouraged. But something in the way she said it, the pause, the slight hesitation, gnawed at me. Life had been routine for the past few years. I was Daniel, 37, dedicated to my work as a project manager and equally devoted to my daughter. Amanda and I had built a life together, filled with ordinary joys, school mornings, bedtime stories, weekend trips, family dinners. And yet, in that simple statement, a seed of unease was planted. The days she spent with Lily seemed longer than usual. Her phone never left her side, and there were moments when laughter or murmured conversations stopped abruptly whenever I entered the room. I told myself I was overthinking, that I was imagining shadows where there were none. But deep down, I felt a nagging doubt. Then came the subtle changes. Amanda seemed distracted, more distant. Her clothes, once casual for errands and playdates, now had a faint carelessness, almost like she was trying to hide or reveal something at the same time. I noticed her avoidance of certain topics, a quickness in her words, and a nervous energy that didn't fit the calm mother I knew. One evening, as I was helping Lily with homework, Amanda walked past with a soft smile and a hint of discomfort. "Everything's fine, Daniel," she said, but her eyes didn't meet mine. That was the moment a cold realization hit me. Something had changed during the time she claimed to spend with our daughter. Something I wasn't meant to see, but I could feel it. I couldn't shake the unease. That night, lying in bed, I replayed the past few days in my mind, each detail slightly altered now by suspicion. The casual hugs, the lingering phone calls, the sudden absences, they all painted a picture I wasn't ready to confront yet. And then the unthinkable happened. Amanda returned from her extended day with Lily looking different. There was a subtle fullness in her demeanor, a quiet confidence that didn't belong, a new energy, an almost hidden secret. My stomach twisted. I didn't yet know what it meant, but instinctively, I sensed that her time with our daughter had uncovered reality I wasn't prepared to face. That night, the seed of doubt had grown into something heavier, something that demanded answers. The next few days were unbearable. Amanda's behavior had shifted in ways I couldn't ignore. She seemed quieter, almost secretive, yet carried herself with an unusual lightness, a calm that fell out of place. Every glance, every small gesture, made me question what had happened during the time she spent with Lily. I began observing carefully, not in paranoia, but in desperate need for clarity. Amanda's routines were slightly off. Appointments I didn't know about, texts she left on the kitchen counter, calls she quickly silenced when I entered the room. I asked her casually about her days, watching for inconsistencies. She smiled and answered, but there was an edge to her voice, an evasiveness that made my heart tighten. It wasn't just her actions that raised suspicion. There were physical hints, subtle changes I had only noticed because I was paying close attention. The way she carried herself, the faint morning sickness she tried to hide, the soft pause before responding to questions about her day. Each detail alone might have seemed trivial, but together they painted a picture I wasn't ready to face. One night, while tucking Lily into bed, I mentioned Amanda's unusual energy. She laughed it off, saying, "Just feeling happy, that's all." But her eyes betrayed her. There was a secret behind them, something she wasn't willing to say yet. My gut twisted. I realized that whatever had happened while she was with Lily wasn't ordinary. I started piecing together a timeline in my head. Her mood swings, the sudden changes in her schedule, and her inexplicable absences all pointed to something she had been keeping from me. My mind raced with questions I didn't want to admit. Had she been unfaithful? Was there more to this than just a desire for time alone with our daughter? Then came the subtle confirmation. I noticed a faint glow in her demeanor, a hesitation when discussing future plans, and a careful avoidance of physical intimacy. It was small, almost imperceptible, but I knew my instincts weren't wrong. Something was different, something she was hiding, and it was tied to that time away. Emotionally, I was caught between disbelief and rising anger. I loved Amanda, yet I felt blindsided. I felt betrayed even before knowing the full truth. The trust that had been the foundation of our marriage was cracking, and I couldn't ignore it any longer. That night, lying awake, I made a decision. I wouldn't confront her recklessly. I would gather every detail, observe every sign, and prepare for the moment I could demand answers. Because whatever truth lay beneath Amanda's smile, I needed to see it. And when I did, there would be no evasion, no excuses, only clarity. The next morning, I knew it was time. I couldn't ignore the tension anymore, couldn't sleep with the uncertainty gnawing at me. I asked Amanda to sit down in the living room. Lily was playing quietly in her room, oblivious to the storm about to unfold. I started calmly, though my chest burned with suppressed anger. "Amanda, we need to talk about the past few days," I said, my voice steady but firm. She glanced at me, a small, knowing smile tugging at her lips. She was ready, I realized, for the conversation, but not in the way I had planned. I laid out my observations, one by one, the odd appointments, the evasive texts, the subtle changes in her behavior. Each detail I recounted drew a flicker of unease across her face. "I noticed you seemed different after your days with Lily," I added, keeping my tone even. "And now I need the truth." She hesitated. For a moment, the calm mother I had known seemed to vanish, replaced by a conflicted, almost vulnerable version of herself. Then she took a deep breath. "Daniel, there's something I've been meaning to tell you," she said softly, her voice trembling slightly. My heart raced. "What is it?" I asked, bracing for the revelation. She looked me in the eyes and said, "I'm pregnant." The words hung in the air, heavy and undeniable. Relief and confusion collided in my mind, but the follow-up made my blood run cold. "It's not yours," she whispered, the admission slicing into the fragile calm I had tried to maintain. I felt my stomach twist, my hands clenching. Everything suddenly made sense. The time she needed with Lily, the secret of behavior, the subtle energy shifts. Betrayal wasn't just suspicion anymore. It was real, stark, and undeniable. I didn't yell. I didn't cry, at least not immediately. I simply let the weight of the truth settle. "So while I trusted you, while I focused on family, I stopped, taking a shaky breath. You did this." Amanda tried to explain, but every word she uttered sounded hollow, a feeble attempt to soften the undeniable truth. I could see the regret in her eyes, but it did nothing to undo the betrayal. My trust, our marriage, and the sense of safety I had taken for granted were shattered. In the following hours, I processed the revelation. I contacted close friends and legal advisors, documenting everything, ensuring that no further manipulation could occur. The shock was immense, but so was my resolve. By nightfall, I understood one thing. Betrayal has a way of revealing true character. It strips away comfort, exposes deception, and forces clarity. And while my world had been shaken, I was no longer blind. I had the truth. And from that moment on, I would rebuild my life armed with awareness, strength, and the certainty that nothing could hide from reality forever.